Happy Friday. Welcome in to this edition of Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for joining us. It is the bye week. Good chance to reevaluate where your Baltimore Ravens stand right now with a little stock up, stock down. We will tell you who's trending in the right direction and the wrong direction for your Baltimore Ravens here at the bye week coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, want to make sure that you join the flock and are subscribed to Ravens Rundown for daily Baltimore Ravens coverage. We're doing our daily news and rumors, live shows, watch parties, Q&A mailbags, and more. And we are closing in on 14,000 subscribers, just over 250 away from reaching that milestone. If you're a diehard Ravens fan, this is the channel for you. Subscribe right now for free. Even during the bye week, we're still bringing you plenty of content here on Ravens Rundown. Subscribe now, and you'll be glad you did, and we'll start with today's show. We begin with Kyle Hamilton, and Kyle Hamilton, I got to tell you, has just been fantastic as of late. And I got to tell you, I've been a big fan of Kyle Hamilton for a long time. I know that he dealt with the injuries here and there that rookie season, but this year he has really just flourished. And credit to the coaching staff, to John Harbaugh and to Mike McDonald for using him in a variety of different ways, in him excelling in those different roles, whether it's at safety, whether it's at nickelback, it hasn't mattered. Kyle Hamilton has been fantastic, and he's just got that dog in him. You can just hear him with that mean old growl going when he hits the football field, and just how successful that they can just throw him out there, and he finds ways to get active, find ways to get involved. Credit where credit's due to Kyle Hamilton. He's really just getting started. What we've seen so far from Kyle Hamilton this year, 62 tackles, 2 interceptions, 9 pass breakups. Been very effective as a pass rusher, not just a coverage safety, but also in the pass rush as well. Kyle Hamilton's been able to do it all, and he has been, I would argue, the best drafted safety that we've seen from this Baltimore Ravens team in quite some time. Maybe the best ever since Ed Reed. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. He's been in a league of his own, Kyle Hamilton. The best is yet to come. Stock down. We got to turn our attention to starting left tackle Ronnie Stanley. What the hell is going on with Ronnie Stanley these days? I've been very disappointed in what we've seen from Ronnie Stanley, and it's not just the lack of availability of him not being on the football field a ton, over the last few years, but even when he's been on the football field, he hasn't looked that great. This past week against the LA Chargers, had some costly penalties, really struggled blocking, defending Khalil Mack there, that one-on-one matchup there. And you have to go all the way back before the pandemic started to find the last time that we saw Ronnie Stanley playing at a high level consistently in the National Football League. And if something doesn't change, if this doesn't keep up, there is no reason on God's green earth to keep Ronnie Stanley on this Baltimore Ravens roster in 2024. He is getting paid way too much to have this type of lousy production on the football field. In 8 games played, he's given up 4 sacks. Are you kidding me? 4 sacks in 8 games. That's a sack every other game. His PFF overall grade, not great, 63.7. The Ravens, to put it simply, are not getting the return on investment of what they had paid for in a player of Ronnie Stanley's caliber, who at one point was one of the best left tackles in all of football, but those days have come and gone. What do you think? Is Ronnie Stanley back next year based on the way things are going? I say no chance. What do you guys think? Our pinned comment today, Y for yes, N for no. Will the Ravens bring back Ronnie Stanley? Let us know what you think. Stock up. Jadeveon Clowney is our next character on today's show, and I got to tell you, Jadeveon Clowney has been fantastic for this Baltimore Ravens team. And if you were to ask Eric DeCosta and John Harbaugh and company what their expectations were for Jadeveon Clowney in 2023, what they thought they were going to get out of him, I don't think anybody would have thought that he would have been this good. I think that you would have said, hey, we'll take him being a rotational piece and having an impact. And but for him to have, 7.5 sacks right now, nobody saw that coming. He is playing way above expectations. They are getting a version that none of us saw coming. I thought Clowney was a decent signing for what the Ravens were bringing in, that they weren't spending a ton of money on him. Seemed like a nice rotational piece, a good fit in this Ravens scheme. but he even has been better than any of us could have thought. And this Ravens pass rush, it's crazy when you think about it. This has been maybe the best pass rush in football. And they got guys that were just looking to have a job a couple months ago, like Clowney, Kyle Van Noy, and others. And all of a sudden, they're having huge impacts on this Ravens defense. It's a product of two things. These guys still have something left in the tank, but also the system that's in place as well. It's been widely successful. Jadeveon Clowney's been awesome, and the Ravens certainly got their money's worth and then some on that deal there. Today's show sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks, the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. And on your first deposit, you can get a $100 deposit match when you play along with us at PrizePicks. Real simple. Choose two or more players. Get the choice of more or less on any given category, whether you're talking passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more. Lots of different categories to choose from. And although the Ravens are off this week, that does not stop us from going all in on PrizePicks this week. And I want to focus the attention to the Dolphins and the Jets in their games this weekend. I got the Dolphins, a couple players to watch. Tua with more than 250.5 passing yards. Raheem Mostert with more than 75.5 receiving/rushing yards. And Tim Boyle with less than 160.5 passing yards. If all three of these hit, we put $20 down, we're bringing home $100 on PrizePicks. Play along with us. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. $100 deposit match. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. You'll be glad you did. Start winning some money. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Stock down, Geno Stone. Geno Stone was fantastic at points this year, leading the league in interceptions with 6, and really just came out of nowhere, the production that we've seen, and really stepped up for this Ravens team with the injuries they had to Marcus Williams and the lack of depth there in the secondary with things that popped up. But what we've seen since Marcus Williams made his return is that Stone's play has significantly worsened, that he's taken a step back when he's been on the same field as Marcus Williams, that they have not necessarily been a good combo together necessarily. And it's kind of odd, right? Because we've seen Geno Stone play so well, but he and Marcus Williams, they haven't really found that right combination of sorts for both of them to look good at the same time. Here's what I'm talking about here to put it in perspective for you. Stone's PFF grade, when he's on the field with Marcus Williams, is about a 53.7. When he's on the field without Marcus Williams, you're looking at an 86.7 grade for him. So a huge difference between these two of when Geno Stone is playing with or without Marcus Williams. He is so much better when he rides solo. He's a me guy, as you could say. No. We're not throwing that type of shade on it. But you get the idea. The numbers, 49 tackles, 6 interceptions, 8 pass breakups this year. This one we gave credit to scheme earlier with what Mike McDonald had done with Clowney and company. I want to see the scheme find a way to make this work where both these two players can play at a high level at the same time. Who's been the MVP of the Ravens season so far? A lot of choices to choose from. For me, it's Roquan Smith. I think that's the guy I'd go with. But Lamar's having a very good season. We've seen, say, Flowers play well. There's a number of characters you could choose from. Chime in that comments section. Tell me who you believe is the MVP for the Ravens so far in 2023. Stock up. The other guy we were just talking about, Marcus Williams, is next on our list for stock up. And what a roller coaster of a season it's been for Marcus Williams. Here's somebody that was injured week 1, came back, got hurt again, but now he's been on the football field playing through these injuries. And we saw last week against the LA Chargers, that was his best game yet. That was a huge step in the right direction. And the numbers aren't going to tell you everything about Marcus Williams. They're not going to tell you the full story. Like, he had about, 5 tackles last week. But his grades that he had, according to PFF, were all in the 70s, were some of the best grades that Marcus Williams has had all season long, just in that one performance. So a huge step in the right direction for him. So far this year, 24 tackles, no interceptions, but does have 5 pass breakups, making his presence known. Look out for more of Marcus Williams there. Last on our list on Stock Down is Gus Edwards. The Gus bus starting to run out of gas a little bit here. Might need to go to the local Wawa or something and get some fuel in the tank, because I got to tell you, we are seeing less and less of Gus Edwards these days. With the emergence of Keaton Mitchell, we've seen Keaton Mitchell's playing time and his carries go up, where he's getting this past game, it was over 40% of the rushing attempts were made by Keaton Mitchell, and Gus's numbers are dropping to the 20 to 30% range of the carries that he's getting. And look, I like Gus, but at the end of the day, we said this at the beginning of the season, and I'll reiterate. Gus Edwards is at his best when he is your number 2 back, when he is your complementary piece. And I think we might be kind of changing the guard of some sorts, where Keaton Mitchell is going to be your number 1 back for this Baltimore Ravens team. The statistics right now show that Keaton Mitchell is your 4th leading rusher. But look at that yards per average difference between him and everybody else. He's had some huge runs, but a huge difference. That 9.3 yards per carry, his ability to have that breakaway speed, no one else just offers it like the way Keaton Mitchell does. And that's the difference, and I think you're going to see more Keaton Mitchell going forward, and he's going to be your guy. Gus will be a solid number 2, though, and we'll have a nice 1-2 punch here with the Ravens. If you had to pick one running back to be the RB1 for Baltimore, are you going with Gus Edwards, or are you leaning towards Keaton Mitchell? Which one would you go with? Type Gus for Gus Edwards. Type Keaton for Keaton Mitchell. Let us know what you think. Who should be that RB1? I'm going with Keaton Mitchell. No offense to Gus, but the future is bright with Keaton Mitchell as far as I'm concerned. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of Ravens Rundown. Subscribe now for free for daily Baltimore Ravens coverage, and we'll see you next time here on the channel.